Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and got another turn here. This is my current turn. I have not finished scripting this yet. I've put, I don't know, let's call it 2 hours into it. But I keep hearing that there might be a patch tomorrow. I don't know if there will be, but I wanted to go ahead and record this just in case so we can at least see the battles. And then the scripting might not matter as much. So we have another carrying commander go down. That's fine. Fair number of little spells go off. We have a second carrying commander go down. Our Snowford lab gets burned down by flames from the sky. Oh, and then we get hit with a real smooth magic phase. We're going to need team colored squares for this. So this is one of the things I've been worried about this entire time, which is these Crow Clan can just magic phase around. They have lots of really great paths for this. And then this guy's already death 7, and I guess this makes him death 9. So he's got a little bit of like penetration. And I don't know, with the simulacrum, I might have left this guy here. I'm not sure, but the complete cycling of this, because this is shambolic, which is the throne. So I need, if I capture this throne, then I potentially could win the game, which is why I'm saying I think it would be okay if he stayed here, but I'm not sure if the Knit of Anger player realizes. He is horror marked, which is interesting. But yeah, so we've got a lot of death gems here. Now, Innate Caster in Dominions, I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, it's still one of the most broken tags in the game. Anything that allows you to cast spells that are supposed to take longer to allow counterplay like anti-magic, but like Innate Caster just completely breaks that. Yeah, because it's got this whole thing about like 100 casting time. And so I don't know. I think it's just a really broken tag. It's not my favorite tag, that's for sure. That said, I've never been beyond using it myself, so I can't fault him for wanting to take advantage of it. And so this potential reality or something like this is why I've been so careful about separating carrion behemoths into army like peripheral armies, right? I didn't think it was as likely that the idol would jump on them because he wouldn't want to get trapped at a random fort, even if he can like ping it back home with illusory army because it'd be out of action for a turn. So I think so yeah, I've been using carrion behemoths in those other armies, but in like main armies, this is why I've been like carrion with low MR always gets shoved to the front of the army and just put on attack or attack rear. Because I know there's a decent chance it gets stolen in plays like this. And then stuff like mannequins and mandragoras and sacreds are behind them. And I try to minimize the amount of carrion in an army such that it wouldn't like automatically route my army just by, like 1,000 of them getting stolen. So, so this is what I've been trying to protect myself against. This very scary pretender. And it's why I've been just continually throwing stuff into Nidavellir, hoping, because for a couple of turns it was just bouncing around killing stuff like Wyvern parties or the Sylphs party. And that's, to me, that's a much better outcome than it bouncing around killing whole armies of mine every turn, which I believe it could certainly do. I don't have the kind of mage support, thug support, um, or mage numbers to deal with something like this. I mean, it's only got 17 MR, so like if you had a bunch of astral mages, you could try to soul slay it. You could also, I don't know, you could try to drop rocks. I mean, there's a fair number of counters, although it would survive a Gifts from Heaven hit, where you could try to do some sort of interaction with it. And keeping that in mind, like it's probably going to be immediately back because of Simulacrum. But if it has to recast Simulacrum, then it was dead for a turn, essentially. And if it does die, he's going to recall it back in one turn. And it's the same effect. So, probably like a better solution would be to, like, I don't know, if you could manage to Infernal Prison it, but that that's difficult. All of these solutions are difficult to me though, because I don't have great astral access. I don't have great, especially astral earth for like Gifts from Heaven. I don't have blood really, except on the one like pretender hag lady. So a lot of these like potential counters just don't do anything for me. So Asphodel's especially vulnerable to this. All right. And what we've got here is an army. And because this army is more ad hoc, it's all this random shit in the area that we could gather. This army is much more vulnerable. All these carrion horses have 7 MR. These dumb things have 7 MR. These things have 7 MR. The bears have 7 MR. The horses back here also have 7 MR. 7 MR. The things with good MR are the mannequins. That's not a mannequin. So mannequins have 11. I call it good, but it's like, it's, for undead, it's actually pretty good. So we've got the mannequins at least, surrounding the sacreds and in the core of the formation, although it would have been nice if these carrion boars had been moved somewhere else. We've got a little block of sacreds here. Wyverns have decent MR. Draconians have decent MR. The danger here is he could potentially steal this guy, but this guy's up at 20 MR, which is good. That should be... A lot of these mass enslave spells are easy MR negates, so even with pin bonuses, normally they just become like a normal enslaved mind. Now 20 is not immune to that, but if it only has to pass 1 or 2 checks, like that's, you've got pretty decent odds at 20. And then this guy only has 15, so he could definitely get stolen. And he's got an artifact on him, so, and some pretty nice kits, so I would feel sad if he got stolen. All right, and so here, the communion is turn 0 communion. It's all based on communion gear. So I believe with 4 communion people, he gets, I forget if it's +1 or +2 penetration, and then he's got 1 more here. So let's go ahead and then because of innate caster, it'll, like, even if I had an anti-magic caster, it wouldn't cast in time. So let's take a look. So time stop goes up round 0. Although it is kind of funny because Nethgul from the artifact has already done a Mind Burn and a Soul Slay. There was potential that this guy could get Soul Slayed, which is hilarious to me. It wasn't good odds, but there were odds. So it was 14 against 23. So that would have been crazy if that happened. So maybe a point in favor of crafting Nethgul. But yeah, we've got time stop turn 0. We're still on combat round 0, and we have the first Undead Mastery go up. So just back to back time stop Undead Mastery. No one else gets to do anything. Because an A-caster is balanced and it has lots of counterplay. I kid, there's pretty much no counterplay. But does not steal either our Banelord or at Mandragora, but you can see how many more of the little carrion horses it stole rather than the mannequins. Alright, so that first one goes up. We're now in round 1, so I think, we've got 1 blessing that's cast. That's exciting. This guy gets to do reinvigoration. Still, no one else gets to cast anything. Although at this point, I think a lot of stuff is in melee. I don't think this guy's cast... Oh, he has cast blessing. He only hit 1 square. Are you kidding me? So we did get a couple of blessings off. They didn't hit any of the sacreds around them, which is horrendous. This guy's already blessed. But yeah, you can see like all the combat going on back here. And then we got the second Undead Mastery. So only the stupid idol is getting to cast spells. So balanced. But again, I've used a lot of these pretenders before. I know how broken they are, and I'm not above using them myself. So alright, so he steals the rest of these carrion horses here. We still have, I don't know, maybe half the mannequins. Almost all the bears got stolen. They've got bad MR. A lot of these mannequins got stolen too. We're definitely, yeah, all this stuff got stolen. He stole pretty much the whole army. We're in very close to like HP route territory. And considering this is a throne, this might have been a good spot to keep this guy. And then if you needed to move him somewhere else, hopefully you predicted a turn in advance and you can do like a, what is it, like a phantasmal attack and then do returning if you want to proc it. We did get, we are a little wyverns getting out there. They are not undead, so they cannot be stolen. So they actually did try to injure this guy. I don't think any of them have tried to attack yet, though. We're still under the effects of time stop. We do land a solid hit on this guy. Killed his arm, I guess. Then give him a limp. Oh. I don't know that we actually killed one. That might be a replay bug. I'll have to take a look at it. And then, as the Communion Master, he's able to just do returning, and it takes the slaves with him. So he goes ahead and goes home. Now, Undead Mastery is not a charm effect. It's an enslave effect. So as soon as the pretender leaves, even though we're massively losing this battle, there's no undead leadership, so they're just going to start disappearing now. So we do manage to salvage a little bit. But we take pretty horrendous attrition. We lose over 80% of our army. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, we lose almost 82% of our army. But the core of it, I guess, the Etten guy and the Bane Lord and some of the other commanders, they end up surviving. We still have a few mannequins. Only lost a few of the carcasses. We still have all the Black Centaur. We lost four of our Mandragoras. Yeah, it was brutal. Almost everything got stolen, but we did come out victorious, which means we get a potential storm attempt where we get to find out what's inside. All right, and then we hit this army. So this is with Ghost Riders. We're trying to gym bait this army. It's only got the one fire gem though. And just does fire fend, and then you get some of the biggest flame eruptions. Just deletes everything. So we don't get too many kills. This is probably not worth 5 death gems. Then we do an illusory army. We bounce off a tremendous amount of PD. We get hit by flames from the sky in Snowford. So we lose 42 Sagittarian carcasses and 6 Furies, which hurts. This is the throne that we took from Nabah. So definitely hurts this army. It's about 25% of the carcasses almost. I guess it's, what, 20%? Yeah. And then, any Furies I lose, I'm always sad about. Let's see. All right, then for regular battles, we take a fight in Old Man Mountains. So we've got a bunch of these carrion behemoths. We have some sacreds, some carcasses. We have a few mages. This is one of our less important armies. But what it's running into is a Firestorm Sork. So we get Frost Flesh, we get Awakened Forest, and we get Rigor Mortis. So I'm hoping this will harass this guy. But he does indeed get Firestorm off. We do manage to trample him, which is good. Let's see, that was here, but I mean, we lose a fair amount of stuff. We lose a Dryad, a couple of Behemoths, but nothing that's not replaceable. I'm okay, I guess, taking these kinds of trades, although it's pretty painful for killing one sorcerer and 35 Daibakemono. Let's see, for Morn, got more raiding game. His big army moves around. We do send a vampire lord home. That's nice. An Erd. So I think there were 3 of them. They split out into single vampires. I think he was thinking there wasn't a lot of depth, and that's right. We don't have a lot of depth in the Naba area, but we do have some. It's a little bit easier to overwhelm just one vampire's summons. So we send him home. Then, let's see, we got Green Harbor. We bounce. Sorry about that. Alright. Okay, and then in Balcoria. So this is the guy that I wanted to kill in the magic phase, but I couldn't figure out a cost-effective way to do it. So he's found us, and he's got this kit. But here we've got a fair number of sacreds. Now the dark slumber effect, it says reduced for large targets. I'm not sure what that means. I'm just hoping it's enough to kill a Phoenix Fire guy in this case. Yeah, he gets the Astral Shield, the Fire Shield up, resist magic. He's got his Ring of Regen. He's also got 23 MR. So I suppose we can try to check. Hit some for 6 points of damage. So it's the Skull's Club and then the Dark Slumber, which I guess is the fatigue damage. Okay. Wait, it says 30 points of damage here. Armor defeating hit. So let's see. So we have the Skull's Club, and then Dark Slumber. It's armor negating fatigue damage. 20 of it. This says 39. This has got to be the Skull Club. Anyways, I don't know. This all seems very confusing to me. So if somebody understands it, let me know. But anyways, he's at 72 fatigue. Jumps on one of my commanders. We get back over to him. Score a second kill. It's at 120 fatigue now. And then we get him, and he turns into a carrion giant, which is perfect. Where was that? So that was here. So we did lose a fair amount of stuff. We lost a couple more commanders. Lost a bunch of wolves, all of our mannequins. Yeah, pretty much all of our wolves too. The only thing we didn't lose was any furies and only 2 carcasses, which is pretty acceptable. Let's see, that was there. And then in Troll Peaks, we lose another raiding squad. Probably to just more of what Knit of Anger has been doing. Alright, and then we run into this with another raiding squad, get absolutely deleted. Probably, again, by evocations, maybe Firestorm and Firefend. Let's see. Yeah, so we wipe out some PD there. This was our Ravenous Swarm on Blightlands. We're trying to kill some of the traders that Naboth stole. So this is an all-living raid that we've managed to pull off. So we're going to do the rare reverse Ravenous Swarm and get rid of the sacreds that have been stolen. So that worked out. That was here. That's the Ba. Kill a few Kamazots. Shinu Yama breaks out of a province, or a siege rather. Got another nasty Nidovanger army. He's got so many of these armies that are such a pain for me to try and deal with. He's got this one, which I think it does Undead Mastery. Let's see, that's Nidian range. Yeah, this guy's all set up to do Undead Mastery. Which, yeah, I think I might have covered it in the previous one, but I think the only effective counterplay is just casting your own Undead Mastery later. Like, they do theirs, they steal a bunch of your stuff, and then you hope yours gets cast, and you steal it back. Because I don't I don't know how you avoid this happening to you on Asphodel. I feel like it's just a fact of life that your stuff gets stolen. I don't know. Maybe there's some like precautions you could take. Moose Bowl is the fort that we were hoping to free, and it's got this large army garrisoned on it now. West Spring Grove has a large army on it. We move a large army into Scarce Hope Waste. Alright, and then we have our storming of Shambolic. So we got the Horror Mark, and we got a Mind Burn this time from Nethgul. Here's the Etten Mandragora. We've got a couple of little bands of Black Centaur, a little band of Sacreds, we've got some Mannequins, and we've got our Banelord Thug. And thankfully for us, there's not much inside for Machaka. We've just got the fort garrison. And now we don't have much stuff to actually get in the way either. Although, I like how this guy just started veering off in a different direction, and then Nethgul was like, man, let me put Body Ethereal on you so you can get through the wall. I think that's funny. So a lot of the Mannequins get KO'd here, but the Black Centaur get a chance to get in there. The other big difference is this guy can wade, and then his Hateful Vines raise things he kills as, it says Soulless, but really it's like Mannequins and Carrion and stuff. So he's like creating more troops as he barges through the gate, which is funny. Then kills the commander, so they rout, and now we're in good shape. So we take Shambolic. We don't lose any of our Black Centaur, which is good. Or any of the stuff we care about. And because last turn we stealthed in Holy Threes to both thrones that we haven't claimed, theoretically we should be able to win. Now there is a way for Knit of Anger to stop us, and it's through the Send Horror spell, because that can upgrade into a Doom Horror. Which means we have to try and defend all of our thrones from Doom Horrors this turn, which is going to be a lot of scripting. Oh, killed an apprentice. So, I mean, not gonna lie, Vengeful Water's not doing a heck of a lot, but it's killing bad mages, I guess, or cheap mages. So apprentices, the odd Camazots. Alright. Got some more events. We patrol out a monster board, patrol out the false prophet. Alright. So let's take a look at the map. So again, this is only partially scripted, but his army in Zux, it I guess like lifted the siege on Titan's Breath peaks, and I suppose this is to try and help it reload and get it set up, maybe with like temporary gem gens and stuff to go attack Melma again, or maybe take another stab at Melma. This is great for me because I'm pretty sure this is a map move 1 army, although maybe it's map move 2. So I'm hopeful it cannot get to Melma and crack the fort. Also, importantly, he did not cast Astral Disruption this turn. So all of my iron walls are still up, at least for this turn. And this fort is not cracked. This fort is not cracked. He did not attack this throne in Berman Highs. Instead, he consolidated in Black Peaks, which I think he can cross the mountain. I think pretty much everything Knit of Anger is some sort of like mountain survival. No one's pressured Jeleni Agora, which is one of my other thrones. He did not try to siege or crack Snowford or Archytas. And so, unless a horror shows up, because none of my thrones are cracked, or throne forts are cracked, unless he gets one of those upgraded Doom Horrors, I think we've won the game, which is great. Just in time, because we're getting hammered. I think we're down at least 30% of our total armies. So we're at like 2/3 strength with probably twice as much territory. So we are getting spread fairly thin. We do not generate, because we saved up for those big globals, we don't have like, I don't know, like 300 carrion centaurs making 1,000 mannequins every turn, which would be also very strong in its own right. But we do not have that. I think I don't know, we're probably making like 600 mannequins a turn in the like production forts. But it's nothing like what it could be had I spent 800 nature gems scaling up carrion centaurs. And then for Dominion, we're up here. Research. Our income's been really nice. And yeah, we're also, Knit of Anger's been clawing back territory against us. So we reached a certain high, and now we're giving it back. So I think the tide is turning, and so it's very good that we're claiming these 2 thrones this turn. So we got people here in each. Now, this was the threat vector that Knit of Anger was really concerned about, was Nabab being able to defend himself. And it's absolutely the threat vector that I was trying to prosecute. So way more of my quality stuff was focused on the Shinyama front, trying to get these thrones because they're really close to them. And these 2 thrones, because out of the, I guess, like final 4 nations that are still here, because Machaca has just been chain staling. Um, Maybe we could have found a sub for him, but uh, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was worth it because Nidavellir was just kind of taking all of his stuff while he was AFK. So I don't feel super bad taking a fort here that Machaka also AFK'd in. But yeah, so this was definitely an area where Nidavellir needed to launch an offensive in. And I know he was concerned about the front line around here. He's focused a lot of resources here. But I think this was potentially one of the areas where he could have given up some ground. I know he was probably looking at Berman Hayes as a throne he wanted to get back, because I believe it was his originally. And then there was some deal that he did with Calum. But I think he did one right thing, which was the big push here. I managed to fend that off. If he wasn't pushing at Berman Highs, I think he needed to rally stuff faster, like maybe even cancel the blood economy if he had to get stuff out here to try and contest me in this area. And it would be difficult for both of us actually, because Nabaz's Purgatory affects both of us. It wouldn't affect his Bear Clan warriors, but it would affect his armies of Soulless. So it would be an interesting area for us to like fight over while Nabaz's still there. But yeah, I think we got this just in time. Now, if we hadn't gotten Shambolic, I think we have a legit shot to try and take Undrase and Old Man Mountains. I think it would be difficult because the Celestial Bureaucrat is a Whoosh caster. And he also had an Arcane Domination caster in Undrase, so he can probably has at least one in each, assuming the Bureaucrat moved. So we'd have a lot of our armies stolen again, which would suck. It would be difficult. And if it went a couple more turns, this army is in play again, so we'd have to try and fend it off again, and it could try to crack Melma, particularly with an Astral Disruption cast again. And then this huge army that he's been building up around his capital could make a move at Berman Highs. And then maybe even this smaller army could try and make a play for Namor. I'm not sure. But I think we've kept him unbalanced just enough to try and get through at Shambolic. It was definitely close though. This was one or two, easily just one or two mistakes away from going to Nidavellir. It would have taken longer, but there would have been like if I lost two or three more armies there, I think I'd start death spiraling. Like I'd start losing forts. And then once I start losing forts and I start getting pinned in more and the front line gets smaller, then Nidavellir gets stronger. He starts making faster progress. And then he starts, maybe every province on the front lines has, like, I don't know, like an Undead Mastery caster, stuff like that. And then I just kind of get squeezed out and killed because my production is down here. So if he could put an army on each of my little cave entrances, I wouldn't be able to, like, all my new mannequins would just be kind of stuck down here. So, and then he could start going around trying to take thrones and trying to finish my invasion of Shinyama. It'd be interesting if Shinyama, because the player's been active enough. They've definitely fended me off, that's for sure. So I don't know, maybe he could try to expand again and like retake stuff and retake forts. That would be an interesting situation. That said, I'm not completely harmless. still. So I've got 430 carrion fairies, which are very killy. They they definitely get blasted away trying to kill their way through Solus. It's not a great environment for them to be in. But in a really big fight where I get to put up all the buffs and maybe I get to put up, I get to actually get, is it the mannequin region holy spell? Like if I'm able to cast that and I'm able to get a big protection buff on the whole army, I think I get a lot more resistance to all that evocation stuff, and maybe I could kill my way through those armies. But I just don't have that many earth mages and that many uh gosh, was it earth mages and for the protection buffs, and then I don't know, maybe more resists would also be good. Definitely tough. But if I hadn't done the big Utter Dark play and the big Enchanted Forest play, I could have absolutely done all that. I could have done fewer Wizard Towers, had more Troll Kings, maybe, or more of some other Earth caster, maybe like Blue Caps, stealthy stuff, more boosters. Uh, without Enchanted Forest, I could have had way more carrion production. That could have been an option. And without Utter Dark, I could have had way more liches. I could have rolled them out a lot sooner. I could have had maybe more Banelord thugs. I don't know, just a lot of different stuff, I guess. Could have made greater use of Ghost Riders, just really been bombarding that. So definitely had some different options that I could have tried to pursue. I I'll be honest, I didn't think they would manage to dispel Utter Dark and Enchanted Forest, but they did the arcane analysis and got that dispelled. So it's been a pretty frantic fight since then. But yeah, so this turn I just need to, because none of my thrones are cracked, I just need to defend. And from Doom Horrors, which means if he does do Send Horror, it's in the magic phase. So I don't think it eats the throne until after the combat phases. And so I've got large armies moving in. If he sends a large army in as well, and it could potentially bounce into the Doom Horror. So I'm not really concerned about his armies. Some of the Doom Horrors can do like enslave stuff. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. But mostly I'm just trying to gather large armies on these thrones to try and make sure I retain them. So like 755 here, got 1,000 here. I might try to gather more. Got 1,600 here, 700 here. Shambolic will have 400, but it's a pretty elite force. A lot of sacreds. Now he could hit it with more like flames from the sky and earth attacks, and that could affect it. That is for sure. I don't why do I have a gym mule here? Okay, so I probably don't need that. So that'll make my scripting a little bit easier. So yeah. And I've got two of these scripted up. So like this one's scripted, the 1,600. This one's scripted with the 700. And need to hit you. So it's not all those different commanders showing up. It's just this. And then you here. Yeah. So I mean we have a fair number of sacreds. We got the centaur just trying to race. Let's see what they can catch. Wyvern, stuff like that. Um Shambolic. Did we actually kill that guy? Oh yeah, we did. Nice. So he'll be twice born, and I'm assuming it'll happen again this turn. Not all of most of our thrones don't have big garrisons on them though. So if he does do it to a throne, he probably won't steal a lot. And I'm hopeful that the army moving in will defeat whatever got stolen. So yeah, I think I've won. I do need to finish scripting this throne defense, this one, and this one. And then do general turn micro. We're going to set up taking Undrase and Old Man Mountains if we have to try and win the game. I'm not sure. Like, I'm so far ahead on the number of thrones because Nidavellir has two, Shinyama has two, Menchaca's got one. That even if one of them did get eaten by Doom Horrors, I think this just goes down by 2 to 12. And then I would claim one of these and I would win, I think. So I'm feeling pretty confident here. But I'm still going to script it out with attacks onto Old Man Mountains and Undrase just to make sure. Although our little raid where we were trying to snipe that super combatant, he didn't patrol this turn, so we didn't get a chance to kill him. He got to see what we were trying to do, though, which was a little band of sacreds. I think this guy might have been on like advancing cast or something. Oh, I think that's. Oh, I think I accidentally pulled nature gems off this guy. No, they're on this lady. So this is another Ravenous Swarm squad because I believe his super combatant is a white mage. So we're going to try and kill him that way. So this is an all living squad again. A bonus of playing Asphodel is all your stuff is stealthy, so you can just stealth away now in shame. But yeah, so ooh, hopefully we pull this off, and next turn I can just say good game to everyone. It'll probably roll in about a week. So Jungle Man's got like a medical thing that he's got to deal with, so hopefully that goes well. He's playing Nidavellir, and he's also putting his series up on YouTube. So that'll be really fun to have perspectives from the top two players for this particular game. And then yeah, and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, fingers crossed I got this one in the bag. So I think he thought he might have had another turn or two that he didn't. But yeah, he needed to be cracking fort walls, so like cracking Berman Highs, maybe attempting to crack Namor, rather than doing the Undead Mastery play. Well, so that could have worked, especially if he had stayed there and didn't do I think the returning was a mistake, because then he could have killed that army on Shambolic. And maybe even killed those thugs or stolen them, probably stolen them. But because of the returning play, because he wanted to keep that tempo, I think it's gonna cost him, because I did end up winning that storm. And it may have been better if maybe he had a bunch of new Nidbethad that he's made in his capital, and he maybe did some sort of like astral travel play and like landed on Ebis and cracked Ebis. Or not Ebis, Namor. And then tried to take the throne here. You know, have someone do astral disruption and then just land on this throne. That probably would have worked. And then it would have been cracked, and he could have tried to take it. And then the pretender could have jetted somewhere else. So, but I think that was probably just a lack of scouting because I've been killing so many of his scouts all game. So he might not have realized that Snowford and Shambolic, although now he borders both. So maybe when he does his turn, he'll realize. And we'll maybe get to see him send those, do the send horror casts. Assuming he has that research, it is a level 9. And there's a lot of level 9s to choose from, so you might not have the, I guess, like the tech for it. But I'm assuming he does. Because he's got national paths for it. I think it's a pretty strong spell. So I think that's it for this one. I've been droning on enough, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.